Hey guys, let's pick up right where we left off in part 3. This will be part 4. Here's Ditko's Spider-Man poster, Steve Ditko's and Marie Severin's Spider-Man poster, I should say. Okay, let's see. Let me turn off perspective and get an orthographic view. Let me hide the base and the pins, and let's see. Okay, these are all the. Okay, I know what I was going to do. I think that the scribe lines that I made in the last video, part 3, are too thick. I mean, too big. Let me just take a look at that. No, not really. I've been finding that in my prints, in my 3D prints, the scribe lines, these lines are what I'm talking about. They're a little faint. They're a little bit, you can't really see them too well. So I think I'm going to leave them thick. They don't look so good in paint, in ZBrush, but I think I'm going to leave them that deep. Let me just zoom in here and let's see, hang on. Let me isolate the blue and just clean this up a little bit.
I didn't get that. Could you try again?
No, Siri, I don't need you, whatever your name is. Okay. Color, material, and color, fill object. There we go. Just had some of that black was bleeding out into the, see how the little black is bleeding out into the red? So I'm just trying to clean that up. That's all I'm doing right now. Hide the black and select red. I hover over the color and I hit the letter C and it changes my color to red. And then I just do fill object. So there you go. It's a little bit more crisp. Okay. Anyway, let's get back to sculpting. What I wanted to do, I'm going to keep the thickness, but I wanted to redo that because you can see up in the reference, you can see that the red on his shoulders is, I've got some blue. It's all red up here. And I've got some blue showing in mine. Right? So I want to redo that and push this line back a little bit. I guess I can do it. Whoops. I guess I can do it manually with the move brush, but it will be sloppier. I want to just, like that. But I think I just want to redo the lines. So let's go. This is Spidey 20. I did save, I guess I didn't save, oh yeah, I saved the torso before I scribed the lines. That's why I saved these things, these parts down here. You see the solid legs, the boot cutters, the torso cutters. I saved all these parts at the bottom. I should put them in a folder. Let's do that, in fact. I'll do it after this next function. So let's see now. Here's my torso. And here are my scribe line cutters. Right? There we go. So these are the scribe line cutters. Now, if I wanted to do it, I could do it right now. I can make these a little bit thinner. But I think I'm going to just leave it. What I do want to do before I punch them out is I do want to make the turns, the transitions, a little bit sharper. See how soft that it just goes right into the glove? I just want to make that a little bit more of a sharp angle. There we go. Get a smaller brush size and just pull that and make it a little bit more of a corner like that. And I should probably go around and just clean up the whole thing and just kind of, because it is a little wobbly, right? So let me just kind of fiddle with this for a minute. And just try to make these lines a little bit nicer. Just look for any glaring, wobbly parts. Let's see this right here. Yeah, that can be a little sharper of an angle, you know, more of like a acute angle. Okay. And this glove, let's try the same thing with this glove. All right, that one's a little bit better than the other one was. Maybe I fixed that already in the last video. But that's all. Just something, just clean up these wobbles a little bit. Okay, I think we're ready. And now we turn on, oh, well, the whole reason I did this was to move this back line back, right? So we got to be careful now. I'm actually going to put the cutter below the part. You want it below the part, and you want to turn on the half moon, and you want to go to live boolean and turn that on. So now it's showing me a preview of what the boolean is going to look like. So I want to pull this line down so that I can't see it from the front. But I don't want to mess with the depth. I don't want to make it, you know, too shallow or too deep. I want to keep it consistent. So I'm just going to be very careful, and I'm going to move it down. This would be the red area. The neck area would be the red color where the web lines are, and the back would be the blue. See, I'm pulling it down, but it's also pulling it out and away from the body. If I turn it back on, you can see there's going to be a gap there. See that little gap? So I want to make sure that when I pull this down, now it's going too far deep into the body right there. So I want to keep my eye on that. Okay. And I'll check. I'll double and triple check before I actually punch it out. Okay, let's do this side. Just pull it down, and I think that should be okay. It wasn't much blue showing. That should be okay. And this, I can see I only have 23,000 points on this, so I'm going to divide it a couple of times and make it nice and smooth before I punch it out. So let's see. You can see it's pulling away from the body too much over here. So I'm going to make sure that goes back in there, right? So you can't see it, but if I push right here, you'll see it go back into that little hollow of the back. There we go. All right, now let me clean this up because it's gotten a little wobbly. First thing I will do is divide it a couple of times so I got more than 23,000 points. Geometry, divide, 300,000. So let's inflate it, and then Z-remesh it and try to get the lines a little bit cleaner. That will also help with the wobbly aspect as well. So let's go inflate. Let me just pull this slider up just a little bit. See the line getting bigger? Let me turn off live Boolean for a second so we can just see the line. See that line got really bigger? So I'm going to delete lower. Let me Z-remesh this now. And that's going to knock this number way back down again. But it's going to give me a little bit cleaner topology than I've got because I just did a lot of pushing and pulling. Okay, 16,000, very good. Divide. And let's do smooth by features or polish by features right here. Run that across a couple of times. And if you turn this little dot into an open dot like that, it makes it more powerful. So this should shrink it. See that? It's shrinking a little bit. If I run that across, it's shrinking this back down, and it's also smoothing it. So this should look pretty nice. But I gotta double check because it shrunk this. See how it's going into the elbow just a little bit too much? Pull that out. And maybe it came out of this crevice a little bit. Just turning it around, making sure everything is where it's supposed to be. Okay. I think that's going to work. Oh, it probably softened my angles again. Just a little. It's okay. I can live with it. All right, so now let's turn on live Boolean. Again, it's on. Let's turn on the half moon shape and just take a look. Yeah, it looks pretty consistent. Looks okay to me. Okay, I'm gonna, whoa, under that peck right there. I just caught that. Almost hit the button. So let's pull that in, and there you go. It's nice to be able to do that on the fly, like with a live preview. All right, now I'm going to delete this one where I didn't even check to see. It's still showing. Look at that. See that? The blue up in his back is still showing, so I got to pull this down even further. It's a good thing I checked that. I'm going to delete this one because that's useless to me. Delete. And let's go back and keep working on this guy. So we want to go down even further on the back. Let's see. Let's try that much. Right? Yeah. Oh, it's like right on the border there. Just a little bit more. You know what? I think that's going to work, actually. Just a hair more should be fine. Like right there. Okay. Now we just want to make sure that this line is touching the back. See how it's up there and away from the back? So we just want to make sure that everybody's touching where it's supposed to be touching. Or embedded in there where it's supposed to be. so it will punch it out. There we go. It's a little bit deeper in some sections, but that's okay. It's at the scale I'm going to be printing this, it's really not going to be noticeable if the depth of this line is, you know, a micromillimeter deeper at one point than it is at other points. But you want to try to get it as close as you can. Okay, I think that should do it. Let's check. No, you still see that. You still see this. You still see the line, the tube. But I think once it's punched out, you're just gonna see red. You're just gonna see this red. Okay, I like it. Everything okay? I just noticed, and this line is thicker than this line. I know you don't really see much of it in the reference, but I'm just going to adjust that a little bit because it's bugging me. I just want them to be a little closer in width. I mean, this arm is actually thicker than the other arm, so I'm going to have to go back and take a look at that too. And again, this is why I save my older parts. I don't just delete them right away. You know what? I think the way to do this, instead of pulling this line out, I think the way to do this is to pull the arm out to meet it. So let's do that, and that will solve my problem. It'll make both arms a little bit closer. Again, this is the issue with sculpting in the pose as opposed to sculpting a symmetrical figure and then posing it afterwards. You lose your advantage of perfect symmetry on things like this. But that's also where that's where the sculpting part comes in, where you need to have a background in sculpture. You need to know a little bit about anatomy, so you can spot these silly things. Okay, so let's see. Zoom out. Let's see. Let me just turn on that. Let me zoom in on that arm. I see a thin spot right there. There we go. All right, that's better. Okay. Okay, Spider-Man, I think you're ready. We got the boolean on. You ready? Okay, here we go. Make boolean mesh. Now, it's up here. I put my button up here, but it's down here somewhere. Boolean, boolean, boolean. There it is. Make boolean mesh. It's under boolean. Okay, so let's hit it. Make boolean mesh. And it's going to give me a new torso. Let's append my new torso right here. There it is. Let's shut off the cutter line and the solid torso and take a look at my newly meshed booleaned out torso. And very nice. You can see it gives me where the cut is. It gives me a separate polygroup, which is great because when I isolate that, then I can isolate the red from the blue just by hitting auto groups. And it gives me two different groups. Right? So let's turn on, let's rename this torso. And push it up near the top. And let's turn on the legs so we can match our colors. Right? Red, we hover over the red, hit the C key on my keyboard, and then we isolate, whoops, that's the blue. Let's isolate the red, and material and RGB is selected. We want the skin shade and the red, and we go to color, fill object. All right, now I'm holding down Command and Shift, dragging out a green rectangle, and that will hide the red and show me the blue. But I also have to hide the scribe line. Hang on, let me hide the black line. Now I hover over the blue, hit C, it picks the color for me, and then I go to color, fill object, bring everything back, and finally I will select the line and just do black. You know what? Instead of black, it's a little harsh. I'm going to pick like a really, really deep blue. There you go. It's a little less harsh. And I'm going to do the same for the the lines on the leg right there. Let's pick the same color. There we go. All right, well, that's much better because now I see only red from the front view. And if I turn on my reference, you see that? It matches a little bit better. Now, let's do exactly the same thing. I want to get these spiders on. I got to do a little research. I got to find Steve Ditko's spiders for the front and the back of the costume. The way he drew that spider is very different from the way it looks these days. And the back spider is a very specific spider. But before we do that, let's save that for the next chapter. Let's hide everything and select the head. Let me just save my work. Spider-Man. Spider-Man. Wait, hang on. Let me see what number I was up to. I deleted the previous number. I think I was up to 20. Okay, this will be called Spidey 21. So save as Spidey 21. Enter. Okay, now let's get my reference on and turn on transparency. And let me zoom way in. I'm going to turn off the color for now so I can see what I'm doing. And let's see now. Go on the mask. Now the mask, the head is perfectly symmetrical. See that? See the two little red dots? The head I've kept right in the middle and right perfectly symmetrical. And I don't care what the reference says, I'm going to make these eyes perfectly symmetrical. It just makes my life easier. Maybe at the very end I'll go and push them a little bit and distort them a little bit. But right now it's just making my life easier. So I only have to do this once and I don't have to do two different eye. See that the position is at 0 on the x-axis, and that means everything is symmetrical. And the drawing underneath is pretty symmetrical. Not quite 100%, but it's pretty symmetrical. And one thing I've noticed about Ditko is his Spider-Man head is very egg-shaped, much more so than later incarnations. It's very pointy at the chin. So I'm just gonna, let me take a look from the side. And the crown, I mean the skull is very bulbous. It's like a light bulb almost. And I've noticed that just from reading early Spider-Man comics. Well, I'm just gonna match the artwork. I'll push and pull and tweak later, but right now I just want to match the artwork as well as I can. Let me leave it right there. Anyway, let's Dynamesh. Oh, very high. Dynamesh. No. And paint on these eye holes. So I'm going to go to Preferences, Draw, Back Opacity, and I'm just going to make that mask a little bit more translucent so I can see better. All right, let's see. She's got a nose and lips indicated here. I don't know. I'm not sure about that. For now, I'm gonna leave it off. But I may go back and do that later. We'll see. But first of all, I want to create a mask brush. Hit down the Control button and open our mask pen. And I want to drag the focal shift all the way down to 0, or to -100, I should say. And get a small brush. With symmetry on, I'm going to paint the eyes, the black part. Okay. I'm just going to do the best I can. You can see this eye is it's a little asymmetrical, but I'm just going to keep symmetry as long as I can here. I'm just going to do the best I can and eyeball it. I'm going with this eye right here, the left eye, or I'm sorry, the left side. All right. I'm just going to make that pointier. Now, let's see. Do I want to... Yeah, I think I want to erase the white part. Because I'm just going to create a polygroup here and throw that line around it like I did with the curved tube brush. I'll punch out. Oops, I can't do that. I'm going to have to do it from this angle. And I'm just making these eyes a little bit more Ditko-like. I noticed the whites of the eyes on Steve Ditko. He's got a lot more black up here, and the whites are kind of horizontal. Even though it's not in this reference, they're angled upward and they follow the black. But on a lot of Ditko art, the whites of the eyes are more horizontal, like that, and there's a lot more black showing. I mean, it's inconsistent. I mean, he draws it different each time, but I think that's more of a Ditko-like eye than the poster is. And again, I could probably go in there and change that later. You know what I'm saying? If you know Steve Ditko's artwork, let me pull up a little reference here, just to illustrate what I'm talking about. Google, give me Google. Ditko Spider-Man mask. Images. So this one illustrates what I'm talking about. You see how the white goes straight across and the black is much thicker on top than it is on the bottom. That guy, and this one really shows a lot of black and really thin slits. And this one, this famous illustration, shows it really well. The whites go right across, almost horizontal, and there's a lot more black up top. So anyway, that's what I'm going to go with. It's different. I mean, it was different from comic to comic too. You see how there's a lot more black up there. This is Romita right here. That's strictly Romita. But if you look at this one, that's Ditko. I know this is way too nerdy, but this is the stuff I grew up with. That's strictly Ditko. That's strictly Ditko. That's Ditko. But I'm just trying to find, like, that's Romita. See how the black is thinner up here and the white angles up. So anyway, that's what I'm going to go with. That's my story, and I'm sticking with it. So let's see. Let's isolate this, frame it so we can see what we're doing. And I'm going to hit Control W, and that's going to give me a different polygroup. I don't know why it insists on making a polygroup that's so close in color to the blue, but it always does that. So anyway, I'm going to isolate the blue and hit auto groups. Now I'm going to get rid of this greenish color, group visible on the eyes. Now I've got 3 different polygroups, right? And hopefully this is going to work because it wasn't work. Oh, look at my head. My head is all flat on top. But that doesn't matter right now. I could easily fix that. Let's just see what we can do right now quickly without distorting the eyes. Just smooth that. Okay, good enough. So hopefully this is going to work. Let's see. Let's go to stroke and then frame mesh. And again, we're having this trouble. Did it throw a line around there? It may have. It looks like a really tiny line. I don't know what's going on here. Yeah, it did. Let's hit curve tube snap and see if it's supposed to throw a dotted line around each polygroup. And yeah, it is. It's just very, very small. ZBrush acts very weird sometimes. There you go. That's exactly what I want. Okay, I couldn't see the line. So again, that's going to act as our scribe lines. So when it creates this tube around the polygroups, it masks off the model underneath it, and just the tubes are exposed. That allows you to manipulate the tubes. So I'm gonna, let's see, you tap on it, and that locks it in, and then I'm gonna do split masked, or I'll just clear the mask and I'll just split it like this. Split hidden, and now my scribe lines are separate from my head. Right? Whoops. Where am I? There we go. So this, I'll just group visible again. I don't need those polygroups. I'll create them again later for the colors. But there's my scribe lines. So before we punch those out, I want to clean up these scribe lines because if you zoom in on them, you can see how wobbly they are. So first things first, let's see how wobbly it is right there and right there. Let's do Z-remesh. Let's inflate first. Okay. Then let's do Z-remesher. Oh, you know what happens sometimes when you throw these tubes around these things? Sometimes it creates two right on top of one another, and it did that. I don't know why, but sometimes curved tube snap will create a double. See that? There's two. There's a white one and a green one. So let's delete those. Delete hidden. Now I just have these. Alright, so it's Z-remeshed. I got new topology. Let's divide once or twice and polish by groups, right? I'm sorry, polish by features. Let's turn on that little open circle, make it more powerful, and just run this across a couple of times. You see how smooth it got? Polish by features, let's run it all the way across. That's nice. Very nice. Now again, I got to be careful because my scribe lines have been a little faint on my prints, so I'm just making sure that they're gonna be deep enough. See, it looks okay. The thickness is okay, but are they deep enough? But anyway, I think it'd be okay. Let's just try to clean up this. Is symmetry on? Yep. So let's just try to clean up this little wobbly line. And let's try to raise this point up a little bit. And make it a little bit more Ditko-y, Ditko-esque. I really shouldn't stray. If I'm going to sculpt the poster, I really shouldn't stray from the poster. But there are things that you need to do to make it work, and there are things that, you know, if this is going to be a Steve Ditko Spider-Man, the eye holes are like the dead giveaway. The mask is really what sets Ditko's apart from Romita's, is the mask, the way he draws the mask, and of course, you know, the anatomy and the web lines and stuff. But that's how I tell a Steve Ditko Spider-Man immediately, is the way the mask is drawn. So I just want to get that, make sure that that is accounted for in the sculpture. And it's not much. I mean, I didn't deviate much from the poster. from the source. But I really don't like to do that. Normally, that's the whole fun for me is sticking as close to the artwork as possible and trying to imitate the art or match the art. That's the best part for me. So anyway, let's do this. It looks okay. I thought that mask was in color, but I guess it wasn't. It was red at some point. I don't know what happened. Maybe I Z-remeshed it. But I lost the color. But that's okay. Ready? We're going to make Boolean mesh out of the mask. You ready? Make Boolean mesh. And it should give me a new mask, a new head. And that should do it for this episode, this chapter. And in the next chapter, I know the hands need cleaning up. The hands need some anatomy. But I think I may start doing the web lines in the next chapter. So let's append my head, my new head. There it is. And let's call this head. I like to use all caps because my eyesight is not what it used to be. Let's send it up. And this one we're going to call solid head. Rename solid head. And this one we're going to call mask lines or something like that. Torso cutters, boot cutters, let's call this mask cutters. Rename mask cutters. And we'll send the mask cutters lines and the solid mask or solid head all the way down. And let's put this stuff in a folder. The stuff that we hide. Let's rename all our subtools, as a matter of fact. Let's call this base. And let's call this supports. And these are references. So we'll put those in a separate folder. So let's create a folder. Let's see if I remember how to create a folder. I don't really use folders because I never really have, hundreds of subtools. It's easy enough to find what tool I'm looking for. But folder, where is folder? It's here. It's right here somewhere. Where the heck? Why can't I find folders? You guys are probably screaming at me. It's right there, stupid. But where is the folders? Where? Oh, new folder right there. Right at the bottom of the subtools where it's supposed to be. New folder, and we'll call this solid parts that don't have scribe lines, right? And no, we don't want the supports in there. Oh, the folder disappeared. The folder disappeared because let's put it solid head. Okay, let's do that again. New folder, solid parts. There we go. And let's drag all the mask cutters and the torso cutters and the solid torso into that folder and the boot cutters. Right? And then we can hide the whole folder. Okay, solid legs go in there as well. There we go. And I want to put my reference in a different folder as well. But right now, let's just fix the colors. So I'm going to select red. I'm going to isolate my mask. And make it red. Auto groups. Let's hide that, and hide that, and hide that, and hide that. Now this is all red. Okay. This, and this will be black. Let's group visible all those scribe lines, and let's make this black. And this will also be black, group visible and black. And this will be group visible, and this will be white. Okay, now let's see what we, oh, there we go. Now we're talking. Yeah, those eye holes feel very Ditko-y. I like them. More so than the artwork, I think. I think Marie Severin kind of cleaned it up a little bit and made it a little bit more on model. I don't know what year this was created in. I think it was mid-60s. But I don't know if Romita had taken over the book at that point. But anyway, I like these eyes, and I'm sticking with it. So anyway, there we go. And I'm going to sign off right now. Let me just save my work. Spidey22. Thank you guys for looking. And let me just create a turntable. And I'll sign off at this point. And I'll see you in chapter 5 or episode 5. Okay, gang, thank you again for looking, and I'll talk to you later. Movie, document, medium, turntable. Modifiers, let's see, let's do spin cycles. Let's just do 2 spin cycles. And hit turntable, right? Let's hit the BPR render so these things turn transparent. Well, I didn't have transparency on. Let's go back to supports and make sure transparency is on. Oh, you know what? It is already turned on, but it doesn't work with live Boolean. So now these things should turn transparent. I knew I assigned a transparency to those supports. And no. What the heck, man? I guess it doesn't save it. It's supposed to save it, but easy enough to fix. I just go to Display Properties. Transparent shading, it's on. It should be on. So let's turn it off and on again. Yes. Now you're going to be able to see through these things. You're going to see that foot right through that pole. Right. Okay, that's what I want. Movie turntable, and I will sign off, and I'll see you guys in the next chapter. Thank you for looking, and please like and subscribe to my YouTube channel if you have a mind to. And the next chapter, I think we're going to do some web lines, which could be a little tedious, but stick around. Okay, bye-bye.